What is going on, my fellow geeks?
3 movies with elves and a guy with a white beard.
Not a lot of people accept it as canon.
2022 will be the year of Star Wars.
Well, I have more than just one piece of geek news.
I have been Isaac Hunter.
Which is like high culture, but better. What is going on, my fellow geeks, and welcome back to Raving Geeks, your weekly pop culture podcast from Central Michigan Life, where we discuss all things geek culture, which is like high culture, but better. If this is your first time joining us, make sure you follow the CM Life Instagram and Twitter pages for updates on the podcast, and look for us wherever you find your podcasts, including YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on our website at www.cm-life.com. My name is Brendan Valentine. Can't say my own name today, and I'd like to thank you all for joining me and my fellow co-hosts, who will introduce themselves in a second with our question of the week. This week's question is, if there was a movie about you, what would the title be? So personally, for myself, my last name is Valentine. And if this was a realistic movie about me, like an autobiographical, like a biopic, I'm hoping to get my PhD and have the name Doctor in front of my name. I'd want the title of the movie to be Valentine, the Love Doctor. That's my aspiration. That is, don't tell the people that I interviewed for grad school, but that's the number one reason I want to get my PhD, so I can be called Dr. Valentine, the Love Doctor. If it's like a fantasy movie, I don't know, Revenge of the Sith works for me, but yeah, Brendan Valentine, Revenge of the Sith.
All right. Isaac, do you want to go next? Or
Yeah, sure.
go for it. I'll switch it up today.
Hello, Isaac Hunter here. If I had to name a movie, or if there was a movie about me, if it was like a biographical movie, I would want it to be called Me, Myself, and Isaac. Like Me, Myself, and I. I think that's just kind of cute little play on words. I don't know. If it was something else, probably like Isaac Hunter saves the universe. But then it has nothing to do with me saving the universe.
I think it should be called Isaac Orc Hunter.
Orc Hunter? You think I kill orcs, but you find out that I am an orc.
No, your middle name is Orc.
To be providing for someone. Oh, it's not even fantasy.
All right. Hey everyone, my name is Hope Gooderl. So I feel like the majority of the time of my life, at least the last 10 years, has been related to band. So I feel like this one time at band camp would be a fantastic title. Or I was trying to think of like something super crazy, because with ADHD and like, I mean, the big TikTok thing is follow the dopamine. So that might be a thing. My movie title about my life, because we're just going where the ADHD takes me. So
Follow the hopamine. Or what?
hoping for dopamine.
I was going to insert your birth year.
97?
1997, A New Hope.
Could do that too. I had a manager when I worked at Noodles and Company that would make that joke all the time. He's like, we need to hire someone else whose name is Hope, so we have A New Hope. I was like, nah, the original is better.
We'll just stick with Star Wars. Sorry, I was going to make a play on your last name, but then it didn't work.
Nope, it doesn't.
No.
Trust me, I've tried doing plays on my last name. It doesn't work.
I mean, if you're at a Renaissance fair, it works.
Yeah, if we were somewhere that used Earl as our like political representative, then maybe.
That's true.
Yeah, instead of what's the show? The Good Wife, The Good Earl.
Well, there was the show My Name is Earl.
There's that. Or instead of The Good Doctor.
Yeah.
The Good Earl. Bad Earl.
Good Earl, Bad Earl. Yeah, there's your movie title. All right. Well, thank you very much. Now to get things started, we'd like to share some quick geek news. So what have y'all got for us today?
Well, I'll go first. on a
Ooh, that's
twist
a
of
new
events
one.
today. So I've got a few. So let's see. So Fast and Furious 10 has added another Marvel actress to its roster. Brie Larson is joining Fast
Ooh.
and Furious 10. It doesn't have anything of what her character is going to be yet, but I'm super excited. So Jason Momoa is also in the movie, and
Wow.
Daniela Melchior is also there.
Hey.
And so I'm like, they are
Superheroes.
they're just like bringing in everybody to like this other big franchise. They're like, hey, let's combine all the franchises into one.
What's the subtitle? It's like Furious 10 Justice League.
Meets Captain Marvel.
Justice Avengers.
Let's see here. In the new Disney Plus series National Treasure, Riley is coming back. Riley Poole and Justin Bartha is returning to play Riley.
Best character.
Honestly,
So
he is.
so relatable.
I mean, he's with two people that know all these history facts, and he's just like, I know things, I promise. But yeah, I am excited to see Riley again. In news for The Witcher, season 3 has added Robbie Amell as a character named Gallatin. Hugh Skinner is Prince Radovid. Menger Zhang is Milva, and Christy Elwyn is Missile.
That's interesting because
Ellie Mistle.
I just watched the most recent episode of The Flash, and Robbie Amell made a guest appearance again on the show after being gone for a few seasons.
But I don't think it was actually him. I think they just used like previous images, the way that he was talking on like Instagram and stuff.
Oh no, that was him in the one that came out yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah, that was. There's no way that was all. The CW does not have the budget to CGI Robbie Amell in for a whole new episode.
I mean, they essentially put a mask over him later, so or over the character later.
Yeah, I think they use him for one episode, and they're going to keep it as a spoiler alert for The Flash. They're going to keep Deathstorm in instead of Ronnie Raymond.
And then my final bit of advice is
advice.
Did I say advice?
It's a kind of
advice.
Oops.
All right, guys. So welcome to Dear Isaac, Hope, and Brendan, where we answer your advice questions.
Geek news is for Ironheart. So the director of Black Panther, Ryan Coogler, is going to be directing the series Ironheart for Disney Plus.
Ooh,
that should be
good.
That's
nice.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to what he's going to bring to the table.
Yeah, I after watching Moon Knight, I need more Black Panther content because like Moon Knight and Black Panther are very closely related, and I'd like to see them interact.
Yes. Okay. All good news. I too was going to talk about Riley returning. All right. So my first piece of geek news is that Dungeons and Dragons owner Hasbro is going to buy D&D Beyond, the RPG's leading digital tool set. And so D&D Beyond is basically like, it's in a partnership with D&D right now. It's got like, you can get all the books on there and stuff, but they're digital, and then you can like make a character digitally and like roll dice digitally, and it can really help to organize things. And essentially there's like, nothing's going to change, just ownership, which is nice. Because I mean, I don't know, it'd be like, I can't even think of a good example.
Hasbro acquiring Marvel.
Kind of.
They now have more money, could maybe build up future projects more.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. That works. Cool. Secondly, Stranger Things season 4 trailer like came out the other day, and that was really nice. Like straight up trailer, not just a teaser. And then the Duffer Brothers have revealed that the antagonist of Stranger Things season 4's the first volume, because it's gonna be 2 volumes, the character's name is Vecna. And as you know, in the previous Stranger Things, there was the Demogorgon, which is named after a demon in D&D, two-headed demon prince thing. And then they had the Mind Flayer, which is named after Mind Flayers or Illithids. And now it's Vecna, who was an ancient godlike lich. Fans of Critical Role will know that Vecna was like a villain in one of their seasons. And they even like commented on it. They were like, I mean, when our players took care of it, we never said where it went. It could have went to Indiana. And so, I mean, it kind of looks like a humanoid mixed with like, I don't know, like a skeletal humanoid fleshy person. So it looks like the monster's getting more and more humanoid. But I was like, that's going to be a lich. When I first watched the trailer and then they released that saying it's Vecna, who's like a lich, I was like, I knew it. So that's kind of cool, little D&D thing. Yeah. Brendan?
Yeah. All right. So on my end, it's more speculative stuff. But the entire internet has been wondering, where is the trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder? And I've also been wondering the same thing. So based on some information that we've got, it seems like the trailer will be coming soon-ish. But we don't have like an official date or anything. They said like filming's been wrapped for a while. The movie's coming out in July. It's like less than 90 days until release, and we still haven't gotten a trailer, which is weird, but which
Isn't it,
could
like,
mean
the
they're waiting for.
closest, like not of I think it's like the closest of like any movie so far that was like that we know is going to have a trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, weren't they saying something about like because of the events of Doctor Strange, like they didn't want to put Thor: Love and Thunder's trailer out until Doctor Strange was out?
I mean, they did the same thing with the second trailer for Far From Home because it had spoilers for Endgame. But again, that was the second trailer, so I don't know. Also, I can't imagine what would happen in Multiverse of Madness that would so deeply impact the filming of Thor: Love and Thunder that you can't release a teaser trailer.
I mean, there was an article that said that there are more surprises in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness than there are in Far From Home, Endgame, and Infinity War all combined. And I went, so the entire movie is a surprise. No one knows what's happening.
Yeah, no, I'm ready for that movie. I'm very excited. It's my birthday week. My finals should be done by the time I go see it. It's going to be a good week. My other thing is it is now April, and that means the Ahsoka series for Star Wars on Disney Plus will start filming soon. Has not started yet, but because filming is finally wrapped for the Mandalorian season 3, and we will start getting some. I mean, I don't think we're going to get any leaked shots for the show. They do everything on a closed set, but we might start getting some concept art and images from the series. I'm real excited to see live action Thrawn. So yeah, that's what I've got. So for our main topic today, what's in a name, Isaac and Hope?
I mean, do you want to quote specifically Romeo and Juliet with it?
No, I don't actually want to quote the Shakespeare play. But like, it's a good question. What's in a name? What does it really mean to put a title on your piece of media, whether that be a video game, a movie, a TV show? What does? I'm sure that's an arduous process. We all kind of just named our own biopics a little while ago, but I'm sure if we brought those to a Hollywood producer, they'd be like, no. So today we kind of wanted to talk about like the process of scouting out titles for things, good titles that fit really well, that gave the right amount of anticipation and description, bad titles that did not really capture what the piece of media was about, and then just like fun titles.
Okay. I like titles. What's in a name? I mean, I know that was just your intro and like a rhetorical question, but that is a good question.
It's also a quote from Lion King because it's in Hakuna Matata, Timon and
Oh,
Pumbaa.
yeah.
What's
So-
a motto?
So first of all, I know, Hope, you had recently
Yes.
talked about a title that had led you astray as to what that movie was
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. So the movie is The In-Between. It's new on Netflix and Paramount Plus. Joey King, Kyle Allen, who, if you look up Kyle Allen, it's the actor, not the football player. But so the movie is titled The In-Between, and like they talk about the in-between because spoiler, I mean, you know this from the trailer too, but Kyle Allen's character Skylar dies in the movie, and it's supposed to be about like him being stuck in the in-between and like unfinished business and stuff. And so I thought that like Joey King's character Tessa was going to be spending more time like in the in-between with him, but they didn't spend that much time there. It was more like the title was about the in-between between like the event and then when you've been able to accept the event and like start moving forward. It was just like I felt misled in a way, but like also it kind of fit, but it was one of those I'm like, I feel like there could have been a better title for it. But also I felt like the trailer kind of misled you too, because it made it seem like it was more gonna be the in-between living world and death. But it's a good movie. Like I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's a good movie. It was just the title and everything.
It kind of threw you off and misled your expectations, which changed how you experienced the film.
Yeah, exactly.
I know for me that when we talked about like talking about titles, the first thing that popped into my head was like my favorite childhood series, and I've talked about it on the podcast before. It's called The Last Apprentice series, or The Spook's Apprentice here in the UK, I think. And the title of the first book is called Revenge of the Witch, which to me is like, oh, so he got the witch in the first book, and this is the second book in which the witch takes revenge. So I spent like I wanted to get it at the library when I was a kid. I'm like, all right, I got to find the first one because obviously this isn't the first one, and I was very confused. And I eventually I got. I'm like, well, I guess I'm missing something. And then I listened to it. I'm like, no, this is definitely like the first book. And it turns out over the course of the story, he like fake kills this witch like halfway through, and then she comes back and is like the main antagonist of the rest of the book because witches don't die. So I feel like that would have been a great title if it was for an adult book for people who read the back of the book. But for 10-year-old me, it was not informative because I thought revenge meant this is a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of sequels, if you look at my background, it's a thing for the movie Break-In 2, which is about dancing, Electric Boogaloo, which is one of the best subtitles of any movie of all time, to the point that I will add it to things in conversation normally. I don't know. Like sometimes I'll like get a lunch or like I'll get my lunch break, but then they'll give me a snack break and I'll be like, lunch 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Lunch 2.
And actually, I'm going to go on a tirade about sequels for a little bit. Star Wars. Many people, actually, there's actually like a pretty funny, I think it's a TikTok that talks about how all of the films are named wrong.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can get into that, but I just first wanted to point out that Attack of the Clones makes you think that the clones are going to like be attacking the main characters.
That doesn't happen till the third movie.
That doesn't happen till the third movie. Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith? No. Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith. At that point, there was nothing. We didn't know about anything needing to be revenged.
Yeah, for real. It wasn't even revenge anyway. So Revenge of the Sith really should have been the fifth one, and Empire Strikes Back should have been
the sixth one.
The sixth one. A New Hope should have been Phantom Menace. Number 4 should be the Phantom Menace. Should be number 4 because you find out about the Emperor. I don't know. It's all confusing.
No, okay. So I believe it's the first one should be. Is the first one A New Hope or no? First one is Rise of Skywalker. Phantom Menace should be Rise of Skywalker because Anakin Skywalker, the first like real Skywalker, shows up, right? The second one should be
Revenge of the Sith is number 2 because Palpatine, leader of the Sith, has ordered an army to destroy the Jedi.
I thought Revenge of the Sith was supposed to be Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, maybe. Oh no, okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the thing right now.
Star Wars needs to be redone somehow. Like, they don't necessarily have to refilm everything, but like, someone needs to go back through and at Disney and just be like, all right, here's all the actual titles. Here's the specific order they're in. Here you
Yeah.
go. Here's the truth.
The what is it? The Last Jedi. I don't know. That's just you made it. It makes it look like it's all going to be about Luke. Okay, so yeah, Attack of the Clones. Decent movie, maybe some bad writing. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about. The next one I want to talk about is in Lord of the Rings, the movies or the books. The second one is called The Two Towers. But they never say what those two towers are because there are a lot of towers. And so it's like, well, it could be the Tower of Isengard, which is where Saruman is, and then the Tower of Barad-dûr, or like that's where the like Sauron and the Eye of Sauron is, because it's like the two towers because they're kind of like working together in that one. Or it could be just in general, it could be Saruman, Sauron, the Tower of Sauron, the Eye of Sauron, and then like the Tower from Minas Tirith, which is like the top of Gondor. Or it could be Gondor, Minas Tirith mixed, and then Minas Morgul's tower, because those are two towers. And I believe you see that in that one. It might actually be the third. No, I lied. It's the third one that you see, Minas Morgul's tower. And there's just a bunch of towers, and they never emphasize it. They also told him not to name the third one Return of the King because it spoils it. And he's like, no, I'm going to name it this.
That's fair. It's like in the book series I read, there's something called the Ward Stone, but the main character's last name is Thomas. He's Ward, is his last name, and it's like something happened here long ago, and I'm like, oh, so it gave away that it at the end of the book they have to sacrifice, or to kill the devil they have to kill him at the Ward Stone, and that's actually there's a weird time travel element of it.
They wait till he's really old and about to die naturally, and then they move him there, and they're like,
well, no, he was already old because the devil. Yeah, that's actually one of the weirdest things about that series is like the main antagonist is literally just a pagan version of the Christian devil.
Okay.
Yeah, very fun.
Another one that I've thought of that like it works but also doesn't is the Shannara Chronicles, which had been on I think MTV for 3
Is that
seasons.
based off the Sword of Shannara books?
Yes.
Okay.
But like the TV series is just called the Shannara Chronicles. And like in the first season you learn that like who everybody believes the Shannara is Will's father. And then Will is supposed to take up the mantle, but like he doesn't even truly know who his father is. And so it's like, how is this fully the Shannara Chronicles if Will isn't technically the Shannara? And it just got really confusing at times, but like I know it's based off of books, so they were just trying to like, like the shoot, what is it called? It's based off the Mortal Instruments book series, but it got turned into a show. It's not Dominic Cooper, Dominic Sherwood. Shadowhunters. But Shadowhunters works for like the TV series because they're mostly working as the Shadowhunters and like dealing with that life versus like the actual Mortal Instruments and everything that the books deal with. So it's like that makes sense to name it that. But then like the Shannara Chronicles, you're like, but is Will actually gonna be the Shannara, or is he just having to take it up because he has his father's blood in it? So we've been saying a lot of bad titles, but I think a lot of good titles too. Like with the Maximum Ride series, it usually so like the Maximum Ride series is if I just want to make sure I get it in the right order. Maximum Ride. So you got the Angel Experiment, School's Out Forever, Saving the World, and Other Extreme Sports, The Final Warning, and then it goes into like character titles. So Max, Fang, Angel, Nevermore, The Final Maximum Ride Adventure, and then Maximum Ride Forever. And those ones, they make sense as well because they connect with something in the story. And like Max, Fang, and Angel are told in the perspectives of those three characters and like their versions of the story or whatever is happening. So I think that those titles work really well for those books. So what other titles that are good? Because we've been downing a lot. So
Oh no, I have a couple more to down real quick
okay.
before we get into good ones.
Same.
First of all, for the movie Avengers: Age of Ultron, it was a day. He had control of the internet for like a day. It was not an Age of Ultron. I get that you're basing it off like the comic line, the Age of Ultron, and that lasted like a few weeks, I think. I don't remember the timeline of that, but it was not the Age of Ultron. Also, I have a bone to pick with superhero movies. Stop just naming it the main character. We need more creative titles. I know the comic book thing has been, name it the character that is primarily appearing. But with all the Marvel shows coming out, even
Falcon and
the
Winter
subtitle,
Soldier?
yeah, that one, we know the characters, we know who it's going to be in. Like I wanted the show to be called something else. I mean, they can kind of start differentiating them, like with the Marvels, like for the Captain Marvel sequel instead of calling it Captain Marvel 2. But
how do you feel about Wonder Woman 84? How
Wonder
it's
Woman 1984?
Yeah.
Well, because that's just the secondary title. So like, I don't know. I know it's hard to like really bring that property into the forefront of your marketing strategy without using that name, but like, I don't know. I'm sure there's plenty of other like alternative titles you could come up with. For example, for Moon Knight, we could call it something else, like Egyptian Mystery. That's garbage, but like I came up with that on the top of my head.
It's kind of intriguing though.
Yeah, like you don't pay me for this, and I just came up with something mediocre at best. So if you paid someone thousands of dollars, I'm sure they can come up with something significantly better.
Or at least an entire list of things that you could range from and then even maneuver things around to fit each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the last thing I really wanted, do you guys remember that? I think it was in 2014. The movie was originally called Live, Die, Repeat. But when it was released in theaters, it was called Edge of Tomorrow.
I was just looking at Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, no, both of which are sucky titles that don't tell you, like Live, Die, Repeat's more descriptive, but it sucks. Edge of Tomorrow sounds cooler, but it's not descriptive about what happens in the movie at all.
That's true.
Speaking of movies with two names, already confusing enough, Back to the Future.
Yo!
Like, now it's a classic name. It's a classic name, and we love it. Great movie. But
you remember the John Mulaney skit about it?
Yes.
We're going back to the future, but going to the past. You should call it Back to the Past.
Yeah. And he's so right, because it is confusing, and it was so confusing for people when it first came out that like even when they were trying to make the movie, some of the producers wanted to call it Spaceman from Pluto, because that's like the comic that the kid is reading when he first goes back in time, and he's like in like his like a big hazmat suit. He's like reading a comic book that says Spaceman from Pluto, and it was like on the board for a while, and then ultimately was rejected. And I'm so thankful, because that sounds like Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is also a terrible name for a movie.
I have one that you will think that now I think is good. The Princess Bride. I was a 6th grader when I saw the movie. I was so confused because I was like, how, like, because I always thought that it was the princess's bride, not the princess is the bride, and it just got really confusing to me.
She's a bride and a princess.
Yeah.
What? You can't be both.
Exactly. No.
It is better now. What about, we want to talk about song names at all? Because I have 2 examples. And that is when they don't name the song one of the lyrics, and you cannot find it. And one is Teenage Wasteland by The Who. I love that song. But
I thought that was the title, was Teenage Wasteland.
The name of the song is Baba O'Reilly, but that has nothing to do with the song so much that even everywhere you find it, it is labeled as either Baba O'Reilly, aka Teenage Wasteland, or Teenage Wasteland. But Like the official name is Baba O'Reilly. Same thing with the Gorillaz and their song Clint Eastwood, which I love that song. That's the one that's like, I ain't happy. I'm feeling bad. I got sunshine in a bag. But like you could have had that as the lyrics right there. I ain't happy. Or I got sunshine in a bag. Instead, it's called Clint Eastwood. That doesn't come into it whatsoever.
I remember, do you know the Enrique Iglesias song, Do You Know? I remember it was on Dance Dance Revolution 3 on the Wii.
I feel like I remember this.
Well, the subtitle for it, like in parentheses, is called the Ping Pong Song because he used ping pong paddles to like the sound of a ping pong getting hit on a ping pong table as like background in the song. He like sampled that, and I was like, that is dumb. Just keep it as called Do You Know. Do not
For
reference
real.
the music itself unless like there's no lyrics.
That's true.
It's memorable. I'll give him that. But I was like, what the heck? This is the most ridiculous like secondary title I've heard.
But I will say, if we're going with if we're talking about music titles, when you look at movie scores, when they don't put like what scene it's on,
Yeah.
like King Arthur Legend of the Sword, the titles of those tracks, I swear, like half of them don't even match up, and then it's not even in any order, like in order of the movie on Spotify at least. And it's just like, how am I supposed to know where this goes with the movie? Because some of us like listening in order. Like at least with the Pirates of the Caribbean, like you can follow it. But
So I've been listening to this one piece of score from a TV show on repeat as I study because it just gives me the feels, partially because of the title. So it's like the last piece of music score for season 7 of the Clone Wars. And like it's just music, but it's called Burying the Dead. And
Ooh.
spoiler alert for how season 7 of Clone Wars ends, but like the scene that like is playing when this music is playing is when Ahsoka Tano and Captain Rex and the are like burying the rest of the clones that died in the ship crash that they caused in order to stop themselves from dying in Order 66. And then it transitions to like sometime later with Darth Vader picking up Ahsoka's old lightsabers and seeing all the clone helmets of his former legion of soldiers. And I'm like, oh, it just gives me goosebumps every time. But like that title, Burying the Dead, I'm like,
So good. I just listen to
New
all of Lord of
Republic.
the Rings, the entire Lord of the Rings soundtrack, and they do a good job. I mean, some stuff is confusing because it's based on book. They do a lot of book titles, but then sometimes it's like you know what's going on because of the name. Like Concerning Hobbits has to do with the beginning of the movie when he's writing about hobbits. The Black Gate has to do when they're at the Black Gate.
I will
Stuff like
say,
that.
I like the for the original Lord of the Rings theme song. I'll call it theme song. It was basically like written off the books before the movies.
Yes.
And I played it in band a few years ago. And I will say, I thought I didn't like it at first because it was titled The Lord of the Rings. And I was like, oh, it's with the movies. And then, but it was so cool. And like, actually went with like the Shire and everything. And I was like, okay, scores written for books work perfect if you get the right feeling for it. But
Yeah.
I was like, that works very well.
Just big orchestras. I guess a little movie fun fact. Did you guys know that Ghostbusters was almost Ghost Breakers? Because they didn't have the rights to Ghostbusters when they were filming it. And so in every single scene where you see signs that say Ghostbusters, and even when they go through the town and everyone's cheering Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters, they had to fill those all twice with secondary signs that said Ghost Breakers and everyone chanting Ghost Breakers. But luckily they got the rights to that title.
I was gonna say, is it because the song came out first?
It was owned by like someone had an old like patent on the name. I don't that not trademarked the name a long time ago for like their own small TV show.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So switching gears a little bit, I know Hope you mentioned more like uplifting and good titles. So with this part of it, I feel like yeah, we can like say good titles, but I want to say like what makes like a good title, like examples of ones that like people should aspire to like create a title that is that good. and encapsulates your piece of media. The first one that popped into my mind was Knives Out. It's a very simple title. But like, and if you watch like the first, 2/3 of the movie, it doesn't make sense because there's no knives. But then when you like think about it, it's like, the idea of backstabbing and all of, like the weird like metaphorical imagery around knives, and then with like the whole climax of the movie where like with the line like some people are such fools that they can't tell the difference between a real knife and a prop one. Like that whole thing that came together really well, and the whole like murder mystery, like family deception theme works really well for that imagery, and I thought that was really, really good. Very well played. And I think the thing to take away from that is like you want a simple title that gets around the deeper meaning of your story, not just the surface level, here are my characters.
Yeah. Okay, no, I agree with that. I have a small list, but it might take a bit to go through.
I have a few more that I thought of.
I will say that in general, I think that John Green does a good job at naming books. Like
everyone name a John Green book now.
Looking for Alaska.
Abundance of Catherines.
Good one.
Fault in Our Stars.
All good. All
I was trying to think of Fault in
You
Our
took
Stars.
both of mine. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go with not one of the mainstream ones. You took both
Turtles
of
all the way
ones.
down.
Okay, there we go. That's another good one.
The Anthropocene Reviewed is just a solid name.
That is a solid name. Also, the fact that he says it right is very nice.
Yes.
Instead of Anthropocene.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Turtles all the way down. Ooh, that reminds me.
Hank Green does a decent job too in his
Yes.
books if you've seen him. A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor.
What was his recent one? I just got his recent one. Shoot.
Is that not what it is? A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor?
No, I think it's a different one. Hold on. Maybe it is. It sounds familiar, but it could be not that. I follow Hank Green on TikTok, and I was like, I'm going to buy his book.
I listen to his podcast, and I also feel like I need to buy his book.
We have his books, and they're great. I haven't read them yet, but Steph has.
It's an incredibly remarkable thing, right? Or something like that?
It's an absolutely remarkable thing.
Absolutely remarkable thing.
Yes, that's the one I have.
Secondly, so there's an author called Johnny Sun. He is a poet. He's a writer. He's worked with Lin-Manuel, but he's got a book called Everyone's Alien When You're an Alien Too. But it's spelled weird. Like alien has a B in the middle. It's like ALIEBN. And then U is URL. And then his name is even wrong on the front. It's Jomny Sun instead of Johnny Sun.
Sorry, that just reminded me of
the word subtle with a B in the middle.
And it's like a picture book, but it's also kind of like a feel-good, almost. It's a type of poetry almost. That
just reminded me of the Vine where it's like, hi, my name is Michael with a B, and I've been afraid of insects my whole life. It's like, wait. Where? What? Where's the bee? There's a bee?
There's a bee?
Oh my God. There was an entire Bandcamp week that people would not stop saying that. Like every section. I think that was when that one was popular. But
I still quote Vines daily.
Well, there's also the one that's making a comeback. The boo. Stop. You almost made me drop my croissant.
Or like the whole like TikTok trend where it's like the Vine. Sorry, yeah. Isaac, we completely.
Well, I mean, that adds to Vine is a brilliant name.
For
TikTok,
an app, yeah.
TikTok, I guess, has a good sound to it, but.
Well, I mean, when people go, the clock app is calling me out again, you immediately know it's TikTok. So like.
Mm-hmm. My favorite is there's an app I play on my iPad. I'm an iPad kid. It's a Pokemon game. It's called Pokemon Masters, except when they like updated it, it's Pokemon Masters EX. So when you put it as a hashtag, it reads Pokemon Master Sex, which was a poor choice in marketing. Do we need to bleep that out? Because that is what it says in the hashtag.
That's a good. I like titles that have like two meanings. kind of
Mhm.
like Good Will Hunting.
Yes, that's a good movie title.
His name is Will Hunting, but they're also looking for goodwill.
Mhm.
It's great movie too. If people haven't
Oh,
seen
I
it,
love that movie.
watch that one. I was kind of like looking at a few of here. The Shawshank Redemption is great.
Weirdly, I like the title The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes.
That's a very fun like it's
Oh.
fun. It talks about like it's a little like surface level because like it's about the actual like guide to the galaxy, but I don't know, it's deeper than that. I think it's fun.
And I mean, they keep going too. The because it's the restaurant at the end of the universe, life, the universe, and everything. So long, and thanks for all the fish. Mostly harmless, and then and another thing is the final book, which I haven't read.
2 older young adult novels, and I say older, knowing that when I was in middle school, the one movie came out. Hoot and Holes. First off, holes, like the fact that there's so many holes. Not in the plot. They do a really good job of like making sure the plot doesn't really.
It's so good.
Like
So, I didn't realize I was watching Psych the other day. I didn't realize Gus is in Holes.
Yeah,
Yes!
And then they
Hill.
reference Holes, and
Yeah.
Gus hasn't seen the movie.
He's like, I don't know what that is. Dewey Hole plays Sam. Yeah.
And then
Dewey Hill.
because he's the whole reason why the lady becomes all
I can fix that.
that she
Yeah.
and so but then Hoot, because like I find it like it's funny in the way that like the fact that what's the brother's name? Not the main character. He can catch those stupid little fish. I can't remember. But it was funny because I was like, wow, so they have a lot of little like puns in this. So it's a hoot. But then also hoot because they're, owls and saving owls.
It's a gas.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think this would work now, but calling a book 1984 like in the 40s when that was written was ballsy on George Orwell's part.
2084. Well, just all of George Animal Farm.
Oh God.
It's
George
like
Orwell
an
has
Animal Farm, but
it's
so much more.
Yeah. Well, the thing with 1984 is like it's literally just a year, and he could have picked any year, but now you say 1984 and it means something. Like I feel like a title that it was like the novel itself that like changed what that meant, but like choosing a title that simplistic and then making it mean so much afterward is very impressive on his part.
Speaking of classics, I have To Kill a Mockingbird. That's a good one. I like ones that make you almost think like, what is it about? To Kill a Mockingbird, Silence of the Lambs. You're like, what? The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But actually, that one's almost on the nose.
To Kill a Mockingbird reminded me of a little Family Guy clip where it's like, oh, it's almost as good as when they say the title of the movie in the movie. And then it's like, all right, Lois. It like cuts to a Superman clip. He's like, all right, Lois, I think this means I have to be Superman 4, Quest for Peace.
Yeah. And he's like, oh my gosh, I did the thing.
Yeah. Well, like with To Kill a Mockingbird, it makes sense. The quote is in the book, but then sometimes it's shoehorned in there.
I try to find that. I try to pick it out in movies if I hear it. I'm like, oh.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna go with that way of claiming a great title, we gotta point out Psych. I mean, the fact that like that becomes the name of their company.
Well, and the whole like double entendre of it too.
And the song.
Yeah.
Yes, the theme song. Yo, I just watched the episode where like with the Spanish soap opera and the theme song is in Spanish, and I like it threw me off, and I was like, no, please give me the original song back. I'm gonna be trying to sing it in Spanish, and I don't know Spanish.
Psych you out in the end.
But yeah, no, if you're talking about ones that have multiple meanings, Psych as a title is very, very good.
I also like the Scrubs.
Yeah.
Because, you're talking about people who literally have to wear scrubs all day, but also it's in like the brackets too. So it's just like, by the way,
Mhm.
this is just part of it. It's not the whole thing. And I think that's fun. I did think of another one that kind of bothers me though. And when Isaac, when you were talking about musicals, Rent. They
Rent bothers
literally
you?
Rent kind of bothers me because like the only time they talk about paying rent is the very first song.
Yeah.
Like, and then the rest of the show has nothing to do with the fact that they are not paying rent.
It's
or
just like
anything.
that other one. What's it called? Hamilton. They mention him in the first part, and then they never say his name ever again in the entire show.
Wait a minute.
He lied to your face because they say it over 100 times over the course of the entire freaking play.
Wait a minute. That's not right.
No, have you seen the TikTok where they count whether there's more Alexanders or Hamiltons in the whole play? It's Hamiltons by a lot.
Yes, because there's a lot of times where they just refer to him as Hamilton.
Well, you'd think his wife would call him Alexander.
Well, yeah. Alexander, your son is 9 years old today. That's just a little bit of Isaac singing there.
The musical Six. Do either of you know about that one? Six, the musical.
I don't think so.
It is about King Henry VIII's six wives.
Large Henry VIII, supreme head of the Church of England. That one?
No. This one is about his ex-wives.
Yeah, no, I thought that TikTok clip was from that musical.
Oh, maybe it is. I don't remember. But because I've been listening to the opening song on repeat for a while, because that's been stuck in my head. But so the whole fun of divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived, like the fact that they put that into the play as well, like but just the name Six.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, so what is Six? And so it's intriguing. And you're like, okay, now I want to learn more about it. Is it just a random number or is it?
It's so much more. Musicals, I feel like musicals do a decent job with titles. And if it's a bad title for a musical, it's usually serves a purpose sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
As I was during the break, I was talking about how Harry Potter is kind of monotonous title. Blank blank and like, don't get me wrong, like I love Harry Potter. Because I think, and then Percy Jackson, isn't it Percy Jackson and the Olympians? And then it's like the title. But musical, a Very Potter musical is a good play on words because it's very pottery, as in Harry Potter, but that rhymes with Harry.
Okay, so Tom Felton posted a TikTok the other day because there's now a filter that tells you what kind of apple you are. Don't ask me why people are making these
Smash.
But so he literally did this filter until he got the Granny Smith apple. And I sent it to my best friend and I was like, didn't Draco eat a Granny Smith apple at some point in the Harry Potter movies? And
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah. And so we decided that it is further confirmation that Tom Felton is the version of Draco that was raised solely by his mother and had nothing to do with his father.
I don't care what anyone does or says. I will never like Draco Malfoy. He does not get redeemed ever. He's still a jerk.
Wait, but have you seen a Harry Potter musical?
I have not.
It's on YouTube. There's a Harry Potter musical, a Harry Potter sequel, and a Harry Potter senior year. And Draco is played by a small girl named Lauren Lopez. And it's just funny. And it is highly inferred that Lucius Malfoy is not Draco's dad. And it is, in fact, Dobby the house elf.
Isn't Darren Criss in Harry Potter musical?
Yes, he wrote them. And he wrote the music. Oh, well, he wrote the music for him. And he plays...
If we're talking fun titles, have you ever seen on YouTube where they took Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, translated it to Mandarin, and then translated it back into English? Yeah. The title goes from Star Wars Revenge of the Sith to Backstroke of the West. Um, that's what it is. It's very funny. I think I've recommended it on the pod before. But if you haven't seen that, I highly recommend it. I might put that on in the background tonight. Star Wars: The Third Gathers, Backstroke of the West HD is on YouTube.
Boy.
Oh, it's good. All right, any other titles that really stick out as like exceptional titles?
Saving Private Ryan. It's so straight to the point. That's what they do.
I mean,
Go
I
ahead.
know you were talking about this earlier with like the superhero movies being named like Iron Man 1 or 2, Iron Man 3. But the movies that Disney is coming out with lately, that's of like the villains, so Maleficent, Cruella, because that just tells you that it's going to be in their point of view, and like I think that that's more important than like Sleeping Beauty reversed or something like that. Like,
Mhm.
if you want to know.
That's fair. Disney does a lot of those in general, though, like Snow White, Moana. The Princess and the Frog does not have the name of the princess. Neither,
That one is a good title because
and
you
neither does
think of
Brave or
Tangled,
Frozen.
Tangled,
Tangle.
which
They hit a
Tangled,
point where they stopped.
but the
Moana.
Princess and the Frog, I really like that one because one, you think of the story,
Yeah.
you know, the typical story of, oh, the princess kisses the frog and then, you know, live happily ever after because it turns into a prince. But then the movie turns it on its head and it's like, but she's not technically the princess, and like has to go through the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, no, that's great movie, great title. I was gonna say Lord of the Rings, but actually it kind of, like, when I first watched it, I was like, when I was a little guy, I was like, yeah, Frodo's the Lord of the Rings because he's got the ring. But no, the Lord of the Rings is Sauron, and they kind of only mention it once, and that's when Gandalf is facing Saruman the White, and he goes, "There's only one Lord of the Ring, and he does not share power." And then they fight.
Nice.
So there you go.
Well, as always here on Raving Geeks, we do like to end with some recommendations for our viewers, whether that be movies, video games, comics, or anything else geeky. Hosts, would you like to start?
Okay, so the new Cheaper by the Dozen movie with Gabrielle Union and Zach
Graff.
Okay, I was like, I feel like
Graff?
that's a kid from my high school. But yeah, no, Zach Graff from Scrubs. They are, so it was kind of weird because they kind of made it, think of the
Alex
movie
Braff.
Yours, Mine, and Ours, of like it's a blended family versus just like the original Cheaper by the Dozen, where they, all of their kids are their biological kids. But it was kind of like a more modern version of the first Cheaper by the Dozen movie, the original one, but then also added more to it. I felt like it added more to it because it was more about like blended families, and especially like if you have a stepmom or stepdad or half siblings, and like what happens when your biological mom or biological dad is still in the life, and like how the parents interact. And so I thought that one was really cute and really funny. So yeah, I recommend the new Cheaper by the Dozen.
Okay. I really liked the old one, so I'll have to see the new one and think of it as its own thing. I would recommend Killing Eve, but not a lot of people are happy with the finale. I haven't finished it. There actually something happened in an episode and I didn't like it, and I haven't watched it since. I do want to say that the title of Raving Geeks is a good title. I forgot to say that. We have a good title as a podcast.
We do have a good title of our podcast.
Yes. It's good. We didn't create it.
I like,
but we helped.
Speaking of podcasts and titles, was it Creepy Culture? Is that the other CM Life one? Another CM?
That's one of the other ones, yeah.
But it's spelled like the K, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that one is very unique and good for people who like like that aspect of creepy culture. I think that was another cool title.
But I don't think I've actually watched that one. Recommendations. Like I said, it would have been that. I've been watching a lot of It's Always Sunny, and I will recommend that. I just watched the Christmas episode where Charlie bites a mall Santa's neck. Good stuff. All right.
I can't wait for him to be Luigi. So I have 2 book series actually that I wanted to recommend if I haven't recommended them before. The first one is called the Tunnels series. It's about this whole this kid that discovers this whole civilization under the crust of the earth. They're also humans, but there's also this other like race of creatures called the Sticks that are similar to humans but not. It's very, very good. There's like 6 books. Tunnels, Deeper, Freefall, Closer, something,
Ooh,
and
it
then
sounds
Terminal.
terrifying. I don't like
Oh,
tunnels. I
it's
don't
real
like
good.
tunnels.
It's real good. It's creepy, but it's good. I read it when I was younger. I kind of want to reread it. And then the other one, the series is called The Princess Frog. So like if you like The Princess and the Frog, the Disney movie, similar concept. The princess kisses the frog, turns into a frog, and then they have to like go through that. But that's just the first book, and there's more books in the series that follow that. And like there's multiple points in the series where she turns back into a frog again. But like it's about her gaining magic powers as well and like ruling over her kingdom. So it was actually pretty good. I also remember listening to that one on audiobook as a kid. So highly recommend. Authors E.D. Baker for that one. So that's all we have for y'all today. Thank you for joining us here on Raving Geeks. Make sure you leave a comment wherever you're listening from. We'd love to hear what you thought about what we talked about today or anything you want to hear us talk about in the future. Also, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter at Raving Geeks, as well as on TikTok. And as always, I've been Brendan Valentine alongside my fellow co-hosts.
Hope Gooderl.
And I have been Isaac Hunter.
Stay geeky and have a great weeky, everyone. So long.